Are you ready, Mr. Reiner? We're good? All right. We're going to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is roll call.
Mr. Munoz,
Present.
Dr. Bonebrake, Mrs. Schmidt, Dr. Schumacher is absent, Mr. Tatum,
Here.
and Dr. Beeson.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Item 2 on the agenda is executive session. I'm looking for a motion.
Oh. Can you read it from the screen?
Item.
Oh,
The motion's
It is.
Hold on, everybody.
I'll make it.
Mr.
Okay.
Tatum?
I move the Board of Education of USD 501 Topeka Public Schools recess into executive session for 30 minutes to consult with our attorney on matters protected by the attorney-client privilege to protect the privilege and the board's position in potential litigation. The board will return to open session at 6:01 PM in the boardroom. Dr. Anderson, Donna Whiteman, board attorney, and leadership staff are invited into executive session.
Thank you, Mr. Tatum. I need a second. Thank you, Ms. Boley.
The vote is open. All votes are in and the motion carries unanimously.
All right, we will adjourn into executive session or recess into executive. All right, it's 6:01. We're back from an executive session. We are on item 3, which is the Pledge of Allegiance.
We're gonna look this way so they can see your beautiful face. Put your hand on your heart.
Yes, yes, yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, that's our amazing senior of the month. You're gonna hear a little bit more from her a little bit later in the agenda.
Thank you so much. We are on item number 4, which is the adoption of the agenda, and I'm looking for a motion.
Madam Vice President, I move the board adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you. And a second? Mr. Bonebrake, Dr. Bonebrake? Excuse me. All right. Any discussion? All right. It's open for a vote. Thank you. We are on item number 5, school highlights.
Be prepared to watch the Senior of the Month video. Then we'll be calling our Senior of the Month up along with Miss Jardina, the Associate Principal from Highland Park.
Hi, my name is Saleta Ajapafasu, and I'm a senior at Highland Park High School. I do ROTC, I do drill in ROTC. BSU, I play tennis, softball. TCALC, I did culinary arts pathway.
Saleta is her own person. She has her own style. She achieves high and sets personal goals for herself. Even when things get rough, she still keeps going.
One of the main things that makes Saleta stand out from the crowd is her genuine empathy for people, her caring for people. She's really stepped up. She's #1 in her class right now.
She is a very determined young woman. She knows who she is. She knows what she wants. The group of people who she surrounds herself with speaks volumes.
I would always have somebody around me to help me, which I was always very grateful for. Sergeant Moser, Sergeant Hall, Miss Ross, staff like Miss Starks. I've known her since I was in preschool.
She's a natural leader and she leads by example just by her personality, caring for other people because she's very dedicated to her grades. She's dedicated to whether it be with us in our program, doing the best she can, or tennis or something like that.
She doesn't give up when it gets hard. She just finds other ways to get through it. I would never put a limit on what someone wants to do. I say try everything and figure out what you love the best.
I want to double major in communications and hospitality, and because underneath both of those umbrellas, they sound kind of different, but they go together very well. And it's also two things I enjoy. I enjoy serving others. I've applied for Wichita State. I'm working on my application for College of the Ozarks, and there's a few other technical colleges that I may attend.
Saleta, I think that you are an amazing young woman. I think you're destined for greatness. Remember, Ms. Ross says always dream big, and within this dream, it takes the whole village to make it come to fruition.
Huge congratulations out to you, Saleta. You're an outstanding young lady and we're very proud of you.
Congratulations, Saleta. We are so excited that you're a part of Highland Park High School. It's great to be a Scot.
Don't lose structure. Never stop trying to learn. There's always something that you have. Make it a point to get you where you need to be.
All right, join me in welcoming a woman who's just really truly believes in service above self, Saleta Agape-Fasu. Miss Jardina, her principal's associate principal, is going to be joining us. Congratulations on being Senior of the Month. And Miss Jardina may have some comments to make about you, and the board's probably going to want to ask you a few questions.
So when I was given this honor to speak on her today, I thought to myself, I see her in the hall and our conversation is, "You still number one?" She said, "You know I am." And that's like the extent of it because she's always so busy doing things. So we had the opportunity. I just called her in. I said, let's just talk. And so we had the opportunity because of this to talk for a good 30 minutes before people reminded me that I had another job to do, which was be out there in the school. And so we just spent some time together. And what I loved about her was just what Ms. Watson said, her drive to do all kind of things. Where she stands, she has lots of opportunities that she's going to have. And when I present her gift to her in a minute, I'll show you another opportunity that she has. But it's just been my pleasure getting to know her, getting to know where she's going to go in life. And I'm glad to be a part of who she is.
Board members, do you have questions for Saletta this evening?
Mr. Tatum?
Selena, thank you for being here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This is a really big deal. You're welcome. I'm very curious. You talked about majoring in communications and hospitality, but you didn't really say what you aspired to do with those certifications and degrees. What is your career plan?
Well, I'm not the type of person who's able to stay under like one thing forever. So I want to do several things throughout my career. Like I want to do editing. I want to be like, if I could, I would be an author, but mostly editing books or editing for like a company. Or for the hospitality portion, I'd like to open a bakery at some point. I would love to. That's been a dream of mine for a long time. I also, a mixture of both of those things would be like getting into tourism, hospitality and tourism, and being a travel agent or event planning. That's another thing I'd like to do. So things like that.
Awesome. I am quite certain you will probably do all of those things, including being an author, which is incredible. So all the best to you. We're very proud of you and great job representing the best of Highland Park High School and Topeka Public Schools.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mr. Munoz?
Congratulations on this award. You know, one thing we know is that successful students have individuals who are there to help them and help them grow both within school, but also outside of school. Do you have anyone out here today you might want to sort of point out and sort of as people who are there to help you and in your corner?
I definitely like to point out my mom because she's not only with me at home, but she works at the school I go to. And so she's always there for me. Obviously, she's been there for me my whole life. And well, actually, it's not obvious because some students don't get that. And I'm very blessed to have a mom and other family members who genuinely care about me and my future. And not just that, but who I become as a person. So it's definitely a blessing to have her.
Oh, you're right about that. It's definitely a blessing. Thanks so much.
Dr. Beeson?
Hi, Saletta. Thanks for being here tonight. Congratulations. You have a lot of wisdom, I can tell, in how you think about things. And I just wanted to say your knowing about yourself that you would like to do many different things is really important and I think kind of unique for a young person. Young people tend to believe they need to find their track and pursue something very specific. And I would guess many people in this room have had more than one career, and that includes me. So I think that perspective is really valuable and will serve you well. You spoke about in the video kind of encouraging others to never stop learning and that's something that you believe in for yourself. Where does that come from?
For me, that's probably more of a Christian thing for me because like I feel that there's never a point where you're going to know everything. And there's always more you can do, more you can learn, more places you can go. And you're never gonna be right there. You're always gonna have more experiences. And I think you can have joy in that.
I think so. There's that wisdom. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ms. Boley?
It is so nice to have you here tonight and to hear your principal and your assistant principal here talking so highly about you. The one thing I noticed in the video is that you were bringing so much joy around you. You were making people laugh and have fun. And I just wanted to thank you for that. The world's a little tough right now, and we need so much more of you. And I just wanted to say thank you for uplifting the people around you and helping them move forward as well as yourself. So thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Bonebrick?
I second what everyone has said. You're an amazing individual. And with an infectious personality, I wonder if we could circulate you at the Capitol and maybe get some common sense in our legislature. I'm sorry. I wouldn't want you to suffer like that.
Thank you.
I'd just like to close with asking, and with your senior wisdom that you have now, what would you tell incoming freshmen with your 4 years of knowledge now?
Do everything that you can right now. Like, even if you just get 1 year of experience in like a sport or a program, do it now. And very likely you'll stick it out to the end. But even if you don't, if you plan to go to college, you're going to need it. And I have a lot of friends who didn't do like anything their entire high school career, and we're all seniors, and we're filling out stuff in Avid and they're like, I have nothing. So be sure to make sure you have something.
That's good advice. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations. You have a lot to be proud of, and we are excited to watch you continue to do amazing things the rest of your year here at Topeka Public Schools and then in your future as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as we were preparing a gift for her, and I spent some time with her, like I said, I was like, what do you get someone who can go to any school she wants to? So it's not a t-shirt. So what do we get her? So we knew. I said, well, she talked about that bakery. So this is something she can take with her wherever she goes. So our gift from Highland Park to you is some bakery items. And with the intention that we get something in that pan, right? And so I'm gonna grab it for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, congratulations. Are we gonna be taking a photo with her in about 5 minutes? So as we continue on, we are so proud of her. It's one of the things we started about 2 years ago. We start with highlighting our students, and it's special because the first senior for every school, that's the first student that those principals thought about. We are incredibly proud of her. And it is, as we talk about principals, National Principals Month. Now, we know every day is a day to celebrate all of our staff, but we have one of our lead principals, Ms. Pierce, here from Whitson Elementary. And we also have our youngest and our only new principal this year from Chase, Dr. Taylor, who was the assistant principal that Ms. Pierce had. Ms. Pierce, how many principals did you produce? Almost like you had babies.
I'm on 7.
7. Every AP that comes to her ends up being a top principal in this district. That's pretty extraordinary. I'd like for them to come up, and actually we have a video, am I correct? So as the video comes up, they'll join us and answer questions rather than read the long proclamation. Remember, our student Lane said, you are the difference. As we close that down, we're going to turn it over to Ms. Pierce and Dr. Taylor. They'll start with the first few sentences of the proclamation.
Whereas a principal's leadership is a crucial element needed to ensure the academic success of Topeka Public Schools students.
And now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of United School District 501 Topeka, Kansas does proclaim October 2025 as National Principals Month.
Members, if you have questions of us at the secondary or elementary level, we'll turn it over to you.
Dr. Beeson?
Hi, ladies. I'm curious what you see as sort of, if you could boil down the role of a principal, what is like the essential nature of your job?
Well, good evening, everyone. That is a very difficult question because we do a lot of different
Yes,
things
you do.
in one given time frame. I would say what is essential is the relationships with the students first. That's why we both do what we do constantly, is seeing them daily, welcoming them into school, working through struggles, celebrating with them when there's achievements. But it all centers around them. For me, and I know for many of the principals, is that's why we do it. But we wear lots of hats during the day, as you probably can understand. Sometimes we're the nurse, sometimes we're the custodian if they're out, sometimes we're the teacher if they're out. But it all comes back to students first, and that is what brings us the joy.
I can testify to that. You both have relationships with all three of my girls. So thank you for being here and thanks for all you do.
Any other board members? Lalo?
First off, thank you for all the work that you all do. We have a principal here for my kids and they absolutely love her. So, Tom, I'm interested in, one of you have been here for a number of years as principal, one very new. I'm interested to hear what's one of the more surprising things you've learned about being a principal that you hadn't expected. I know, Dr. Taylor, you've been here on just a few weeks, but in your short time and also at Whitson.
That's a really good question, Mr. Munoz, and a really tough one. Man, that one got me.
There are no wrong answers. So
I mean, I piggyback off of what Mrs. Pierce said, and the biggest thing being relationships, and just surprising how sometimes it's really easy to build those relationships and sometimes it's more challenging, whether that's with students or families, and just breaking down that barrier and the trust that is already established or isn't there. I think that's one of the most surprising, is sometimes the difference in how easy it is to build those relationships.
I was just going to add that I think there is never 2 days that are the same. And when you get into this job, you may expect that or you may not expect that. You have a schedule that is filled with all kinds of things that you need to get done in one day. But our little people are literally our human resources, and they can change that very quickly because obviously our needs are also to address students and what their needs are. And so sometimes that schedule goes away. And that is something that you may not know right away.
Well, thank you both.
Can you both share how long you've been in the district as we complete?
Yes, this is year 11 for me at Whitson Elementary as the principal, but I have been in the district for, this is year 22, 23. So I've spent my entire career in Topeka Public Schools.
I also have spent my entire career in Topeka Public Schools. This is my 9th year, 3 years at Whitson as the assistant principal and first year as principal at Chase Middle School.
All right, any other comments from board members? All right, well, I'd just like to thank you on behalf of the board, you and all the principals for Topeka Public Schools. You are in the trenches, you are doing day to day what makes Topeka Public Schools great, not only for our students and their families, but for the teams of teachers and faculty that are within your school walls as well. So you do wear a lot of hats, and we appreciate all that you do to make us look good. Thank you.
Thank you all.
For those who don't know, we have 32 schools, 32 principals, 90% of our staff has I think retire. I think it was 80% of our staff, some crazy number when you think about it. Most of our principals have spent their entire career, and we have succession planning in a way where we have principals, interns, coaches, admin interns, assistant principal, then you become a principal. So that allows for people like Dr. Taylor to move up, and we are so proud of you in your new role, and we thank you as being a lead. With that, we'd like to take just a 5-minute break if we could for photos. Students first, so we'll ask our HPH Senior of the Month. Can you come on up with Mama? Mama, would you, unless Mama, you don't want to take a picture. All right. You heard her talk about you. You look good. Come on. One, two, three. Our principals, come on up. We're gonna get our, that would be very. All right, the next item on the agenda is public communications. This evening, I believe we have 6 people that signed up to speak. We're going to start with Miss Laura Burton. As you come to the podium, I do have a comment that I am required to read. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address the board. We ask that your remarks to the board be respectful. All school board members, as school board members, we must make sure the privacy and rights of all USD 501 employees are protected. Please keep your comments generalized and refrain from using employee names or other identifying information. Board Policy 2050 requires all complaints to be made and resolved at the lowest administrative level. When a complaint is made directly to the board, it is referred to the superintendent and the building principal for investigation and resolution. Ms. Burton?
Thank you. My name is Laura Burton, friends. I live on McVicker in College Hill, and thank you for listening to us and talking to us over the past few days. We have seen more progress on the Boswell Park issue in the past 3 days than we have in the previous 3 years, and I am grateful for that. Now, I know some of you might feel like the neighborhood's efforts to get this resolved have been a bit one-sided, but let me assure you, Shawnee County also finds us incredibly annoying. We know the county is crafting language based on verbal communications from both organizations, and we'll be in contact with them until they get it back to you. No one is getting off the hook here. As you move things along, we will hassle the other guys. At the same time, I have to be honest, the way we got here is not okay. And Topeka Public Schools being the focus of our advocacy reflects that these years haven't just been hard on the playground, they've been hard on public trust. What we needed in 2022 and what we have had from Shawnee County was a single contact who understood the issue and could share basic updates like, we've sent an agreement and we're waiting to hear back. Or you sent photos of things that are broken. I'm going to double check with Parks because I thought they were going to fix that, but if they won't, I'll send our facilities team out there to make repairs. And maybe that level of responsiveness about one little park is unreasonable for an organization as large as yours, but there has to be a better way than 3 years of it's all in executive session, followed by 6 weeks of we're going to assess it and we'll get back with you in 12 to 24 months. Because without information, as we've seen, neighborhoods are going to neighborhood, and you end up with a PR problem that could have been an email. Board members, when you are told information can't be shared with the public, please ask, is this confidential by law or is this strategy? Because as elected officials, your perspective on what the community has a right to know may be different from staff, and that's okay. That's a decision you get to make. Now, I know some of you wanted to keep this property because you had a great idea. A green space in Central Topeka dedicated to outdoor education. I love that idea. I would have loved to work with you on that idea. But it took 3 years, dozens of emails, hundreds of flyers, 3 news outlets, and 50,000 Facebook views to get you to start sharing real information with your neighbors. And through it all, I kept thinking, is this what it's going to be like to work with them on every park project? That's how a really good idea loses the support of the community. So thank you for your progress. I appreciate it. Stay in touch. We are ready to help you. But next time, let's save the flyers and the sidewalk chalk and let's go straight to the part where the neighborhood gets a partner and our kids get a park. Thank you.
The next person signed up to speak is Mr. Grant Reynolds. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address the board. We ask that your remarks to the board be respectful. As school board members, we must make sure the privacy rights of all USD 501 employees are protected. Please keep your comments generalized and refrain from using employee names or other identifying information. Board Policy 2050 requires all complaints to be made and resolved at the lowest administrative level. When a complaint is made directly to the board, it is referred to the superintendent and building principal for investigation and resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Grant Reynolds. We live at 1314 Southwest Boswell Avenue in College Hill. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to share. As a resident of the College Hill neighborhood, I speak on behalf of not only my family, my wife and 3 boys, but also my neighbors on Boswell Avenue in College Hill. We are grateful that negotiations have continued in regards to the future of Boswell Park and for the time in which you have taken in the matter into consideration and careful examination. As a father, I love the park and the access my family and I have to its convenient location. Not only us, but my neighbors do as well. Pedro, who enjoys the time there with his dogs, Leslie, John, Amanda, who enjoy the views and the families that play, Dennis and Carrie, who walk the park almost daily and whose kids have loved it all the same, among so many others who partake in all that the park has to offer. Yet further still, as a committed follower of my Lord Jesus Christ, though my eternal citizenship is in heaven, where Christ is, through faith in his death and resurrection, Jeremiah 29:7 is an encouragement to me that I'm called to seek the welfare of the city in which the Lord has placed me and my family in. Therefore, I believe that a bright and continued future for our park, Boswell Park, not only adds to the quality of life in College Hill, but also a place of family fun, personal joy, and neighborhood connection, and thus the further betterment of our community, our neighborhood, and our city. Thank you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next person we have signed up to speak is Mr. Dwayne Pomeroy. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address the board. We ask that your remarks to the board be respectful. As school board members, we must make sure the privacy rights of all USD 501 employees are protected. Please keep your comments generalized and refrain from using employee names or other identifying information. Board Policy 2050 requires all complaints to be made and resolved at the lowest administrative level. When receiving a complaint, it is made directly to the board. It is referred to the superintendent and building principal for investigation and resolution. Thank you.
Okay, Dwayne Pomeroy, 1619 Jewel. And to avoid being ruled out of order, I won't mention who, but I'm dressed because I just came from the Topeka High tennis practice as their coach. And one of you is a teammate of mine going to nationals in January. But anyway, I was on the school board from 1977 to 81. And so that means I was on the board when everything was finalized on the closing of Boswell and the tearing down, which was tough. That was the school I went to. But I and the board made a promise to the neighborhood that whatever happened with that site, it would be in harmony with the neighborhood, and we would, do that together. I want to thank you for keeping that promise. I also want to tell you, with my experience on the city council, that the city had a real tough situation with the closing of the Topeka State Hospital. And that was up in the air for quite a while, what would happen. And then 501 stepped in and did such a tremendous job with Hummer Sports Park and then the other parts of the development. It's been a real thoughtful process. So I would like to see this property transferred to Parks and Rec because it's a little more in fitting with their mission in Parks and Rec. It's not because I don't want 501 to have it. So anyway, again, thanks for being such good stewards of the property that you do have.
Thank you. The next person we have signed up to speak is Reverend Dr. Bruce Emmert. Please come forward and state your name and address. For the record, you have 3 minutes to address the board. We ask that your remarks to the board be respectful. As school board members, we must make sure the privacy rights of all USD 501 employees are protected. Please keep your comments generalized and refrain from using employees' names or other identifying information. Board Policy 2050 requires all complaints to be made and resolved at the lowest administrative level. When a complaint is made directly to the board, it is referred to the superintendent and building principal for investigation and resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice President Schmidt and the school board for having an opportunity to speak with you. If it hasn't been done already, just one request, and that is we had our neighbor, I'm with the College Hill Neighborhood Association. I'm the president, 1625 Southwest Jewel. We had sent a resolution that we passed in our neighborhood association, and I think you probably have a copy of that. And if it hasn't been entered into the minutes, I would just request, if that's possible, that would be done. So that's one thing. And then, and I know I'm not supposed to name somebody a name, but can I say a thank you to somebody in the room?
Thanks. People
Is that
always
okay?
appreciate praise.
Okay, all right.
We can make an exception.
Dr. Anderson, I just want to say personally thank you for inviting me and other members of the College Hill Neighborhood Association to meet with you this week and to discuss, I think, a great discussion. And I'm sorry, I should be addressing you all, but I want to say thank you for her inviting us and for a good discussion and for, it feels like some movement. And we also know that that afterward, you had another meeting that was pretty important too. And I'm sure you had something to do with that. So thank you. So it was productive. It was friendly. One of the school board members was there. Thank you for being there. Other members of 501 were there. We just grateful for that. And also now, thank you for working closely. And I have every confidence that working closely with Shawnee County Parks and Rec, whom we have the greatest respect for, that between you all and Shawnee County Parks and Rec, we'll get this issue of Boswell Park resolved so that it works out best, not only for our neighborhood, and our neighborhood association, but also for 501 and Shawnee County Parks, and also for our kids in this school district. So thank you for what you do. Again, Dr. Anderson, thank you for carving out some time for us. Thank you.
Thank you. The next person I have signed up to speak is Mr. John Parton. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address the board. We ask that your remarks to the board be respectful. As school board members, we must make sure the privacy rights of all USD 501 employees are protected. Please keep your comments generalized and refrain from using employee names or other identifying information. Board Policy 2050 requires all complaints to be made and resolved at the lowest administrative level. When a complaint is made directly to the board, it is referred to the superintendent and building principal for investigation and resolution. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. My name is John Parton, and I live at 1606 Southwest Boswell Avenue. USD 501 should transfer Boswell Square Park to the Shawnee County Parks Department so that it can be properly maintained as a park in perpetuity. In discussing how this property ought to be handled, I've done research regarding the historical context for how these lots came to be possessed by USD 501. Indeed, we have to look back before 1922. Unified school districts did not exist, so the entity in question is the City of Topeka Board of Education. The plan was to build Pinwell Elementary School on the property now known as Boswell Square Park, which consists of 36 numbered lots. Of the 36 numbered lots, at least 25 were already held by private individuals. In order for construction to commence, the lots had to be transferred to the city. I went to the Shawnee County Register of Deeds and discovered that no lots were sold for any more than the individuals paid for them, and at least 6 lots were effectively donated. In 1921, lots 244 and 246 on Jewel Avenue were sold for $1 and other valuable considerations by Eileen Thomas, a widow. December 21st will be the 104th anniversary of this significant act of charity. Lots 240 and 242 on Jewel Avenue were donated by Stephen Temple. 333 and 341 on Boswell Avenue were donated by AJ Paramore, and so on. USD 501 is a public institution, and as such has an overriding duty to safeguard the public good. If in attempting to further its more narrow mission, it damages the fabric of society, it could be fairly said that the mission has failed. The dead cannot speak, nor do I claim to speak for them. However, it's clear to me that allowing the park to fall into disrepair or selling the park to a private entity would not honor these historical acts of charity, and indeed could be said to dishonor the legacy of the dead. This is a compelling reason to transfer the park to the county. USD 501 holding the property and attempting to partner with the county for maintenance is not an effective compromise, and the school district's actions demonstrate that. In May 1991, a legal contract was signed between the Board of Education and the city. It outlined the specific rights and responsibilities between the two parties with respect to Boswell Square Park, as well as the Central Park Community Center and facilities to its north. Crucially, the length of the contract was 10 years. No reauthorization was signed in 2001, and so the agreement legally lapsed. For more than 24 years, the status of both of these properties has been in question, and it can be argued that USD 501's continued use of the Central Park facilities is ultimately unauthorized. In practice, I would say that the use of the Central Park facilities is therefore entirely due to the goodwill of the community. The situation which we are in today is attributed at least partially to the negligence of the school district to maintain even the most basic legal agreement on a relatively short timeline. A memorandum of understanding or other temporary agreement is evidently unsustainable. It is for this reason that Boswell Square Park ought to be transferred outright. Thank you.
Thank you. The final person I have signed up to speak this evening is Mr. Bertrand Parton. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address the board.
All right.
We ask that your comments to the board be respectful. As school board members, we must make sure the privacy rights of all USD 501 employees are protected. Please keep your comments generalized and refrain from using employee names or other identifying information.
You want to read it?
Okay.
You want to read nice and quick like you did before. Here, go ahead.
My name is Bert Parton. We live on Boswell Avenue in Topeka. We walk to Boswell Square Park. I like it because it has a fence, size, and swing set. I like to play with my friends and play frisbee. If this slide gets broken, we won't have a sign anymore to play. It is important that everything stays fixed because We want it to be a nice park so that we can play. I did the Easter egg hunt at the park, and I brought home a cup with cream cheese and candy. I like Easter in Boswell Square Park. I hope the park stays nice. Thank you for listening to me.
I don't know, do we? I want to get consensus from the board. We have one other person that would like to speak. It is my understanding that they had turned the information in, but by the 4:30 deadline, Ms. Lister says she did not receive it. So I'm looking to you if we want to go ahead and allow her the opportunity since she's here. All right, thank you very much. The last person, our next last person to speak is Ms. Susan Duffy. Please come forward and state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes to address the board. We ask that your remarks to the board be respectful. All school board members, as school board members, we must make sure the privacy rights of all USD 501 employees are protected. Please keep your comments generalized and refrain from using employee names or other identifying information. Board Policy 2050 requires all complaints to be made and resolved at the lowest administrative level. When a complaint is made directly to the board, it is referred to the superintendent and building principal for investigation and resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, board members, for that consideration. I thought I'd correctly emailed it, but apparently not Ms. Lister, and I apologize. My name is Susan Duffy. I reside at 1501 Southwest Boswell Avenue, and I am a fan of Boswell Square Park. In fact, I was the first park chairperson back in 1990 when this was created. It was like a no-brainer for Boswell Square Park to be born. I had the privilege of working with Dr. Raymond Powers, director of the Kansas State Historical Society, for a number of years. He always felt that a sense of place was one of the most basic intrinsic needs of our youth. And a sense of place can be a school, but most importantly, it's probably a neighborhood where you grew up and you felt that secureness with your neighbors and with your environs and surrounding, and how important that is to a well-adjusted growing up, that sense of place of where I belong, and that I am committed and I am a part of my environment. Let me tell you a little bit about Boswell Square Park. We've had our 4th of July parade for 30 years. Albeit the first one was pretty sparse. There was a handful of neighbors, but very enthusiastic neighbors. National Night Out, every year. We even had a helicopter land in the middle of the park, but National Night Out for years was held in the park. Weddings in the gazebo. How many people got married in the gazebo? We really don't know, but there were a bunch. And it was so wonderful to go by there on Saturday and see the bride, the family, the groom, and it was just a joyful celebration. We did get our original gazebo from the Menninger Foundation when they left town. They gave us the gazebo at midnight. We took it apart, and in 2 pieces, the City of Topeka employees moved it. Boswell Junior High reunions. Oh my gosh, they meet in the park. Of course they do. Soccer practice, soccer games, turtle races. And for me, it used to be, can we go to the park, Mom? Can we go to the park, Mom? Can we go to the park, Mom? And then it became, Mom, I'm going to the park. Mom, I'm going to the park. A safe place to go. And it was our Saturday or Sunday afternoon ritual to have a little picnic in the park. All you needed was a blanket and snacks. It was wonderful. Crossing the Bridge of Doom. Go to the play equipment and you'll figure out the Bridge of Doom. Running. Boswell Square Park Wall of Fame, where we have a wall of fame of famous, like Charles Sheldon grew up in our, or lived in our neighborhood, and we honor him. I would request respectfully 1 more minute.
All right, granted.
Thank you. Family cookouts, family reunions, run some more, throw the ball for the dog, Westminster Easter egg hunt. caroling in the park, baseball, special brick path that's how we raised money for the park, was people bought bricks and we made our own pathway. Girl Scout and Boy Scout cleanups weekly, bagpipe practices, park meetings, actually in the park, running some more, basketball at the park, kite flying, snowman making, snow angel making, forts built at the park. And my favorite is movie night, where we actually set up a tent and we played Twister, and the wind started picking up that evening. Before the movie was over, everybody was gone. These are the things we do in the park, and we have established a sense of community for our neighborhood. And I only wish every neighborhood had that. And so thank you for the efforts to get us where we need to be with our sense of place for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is disposition of business by consent. I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Tatum?
Madam Vice President, I move the board approve the items of business by consent as presented and authorize the board president or superintendent to sign, or vice president to sign the special project and purchasing contracts for and on behalf of the board.
Thank you. Second, Dr. Beason? Any discussion? All right, we're ready for a vote.
And the vote is open. All votes are in and the motion carries unanimously.
All right, next item on the agenda, item 19, superintendent's report.
At this time, we have our major maintenance projects report. Mr. Schaefer is coming forward, and as the PowerPoint opens up, Mrs. Trinidad, do you have a comment or two that you'd like to make?
I'd like to share why he's coming up there is that I'm pretty excited. We I'm going to add something on there, we had our pre-bid for our assessment groups to come in and to ask questions in reference before they do submit. And we ended up having 14 different companies that attended that. So very excited to see the interest out there of wanting to come in and giving us assessments on our buildings. So look forward then now to narrowing it down from there and seeing what their bids look like. So.
Good evening. Members of the board, thank you for having me tonight to come and speak with you about this year's major maintenance project list. Similar to last year where I stood before you and requested for a total allocation of $5 million, we will again ask for that same amount. Along the thread of we have a lot of deferred maintenance that is critical to the overall function of our facilities. And by granting that, hopefully this evening, it will give us the opportunity to continue to chip away at those needs. As you guys have had the opportunity to review the project list, there are primary project types and secondary projects. That's solely based on the budgetary constraints of the multitude of projects that we're asking to accomplish. In total, we have 37 different separate projects that will affect 18 different buildings. And so with that, I'll just touch base on a few important ones as we go through the slides here. You'll notice that at our high schools and our secondary middle schools, we have intercom upgrades that are allocated or outlined within the budget proposal. Those are critical to the overall function of each of those facilities because, buildings and schools operate with bell systems, and the ability to communicate between a classroom and the administration office. Those are at the point in which they're sunsetting the support of those systems, and it's really critical that we're being proactive in addressing and replacing those systems this year. And as we go to the next slide, you'll see another example of a project that we have is at Highland Park Central Elementary School. Many of you have probably walked the halls of that property, and it is it's in need of some improvement. From a flooring perspective, we have some very dated flooring in there. And in one of the primary areas where we have about 12 classrooms, we have some accordion style walls that disrupt the learning process because there is a lack of sound absorption going on between those spaces. So what we're looking to do is just highlight and identify some of those critical areas, and Highland Park Central is an example of that, with changing out flooring and adding some walls. We'll go to the next slide. On this portion, you'll see State Street is allocated about $250,000 for a roof replacement. This is a continuation of a project that we took on a couple of years ago, but it would allow for us to ensure that we don't have any leaks in our classrooms that ultimately is a disruption in the classroom environment. We'll move on to the last slide for the breakdown of the list. The last one that I want to highlight is specifically at Hope Street and Information Technology. We are looking to add their server room fire suppression system. Currently, we haven't been without any type of fire suppression in that area or at all. And both Mr. Reiner and I have worked very diligently to identify that as a need, and hopefully we're going to be able to provide that security to our overall network by completing that project. So you'll see that there's a fairly even distribution outside of a portion of projects that I haven't spoken about, which are our mechanical and HVAC systems. We, out of the 46% of the budget that we would allocate to those projects, I believe 4 of the 5 are phased projects, and we would be looking to wrap those this fiscal year and transition to some other locations that may not have been getting as much of a funding allocation in the past. An example of that is we've been putting quite a bit of money into Topeka High to replace their univents. We would look to transition to one of the high schools and get their mechanical systems up to snuff and provide a more consistent learning environment with those projects. So that's the general distribution of funds and what we're asking for. And then finally, the last slide just gives you guys an overall idea of where our money is being distributed. This year, it just happened to be that we have a little bit more of our capital funds going to what we would classify as East Side schools. Within facilities, we are kind of agnostic as to, where the money goes. It's more based on need than anything. But I think it's important to see that it's a good distribution between all areas, and we try to be as equitable as possible when identifying these projects. So really, to close out, you may see that, on the total line item, we're asking for $5.9 million. Really, I'm asking for 5. If we can fit in that extra $900,000 worth of projects just by having the ability to bid out projects quickly and get some more competitive numbers from bidders, things of that nature, that's what we're looking to accomplish. And they are vital to the overall functionality of our properties, buildings, and our classrooms. We want to ensure that there's a high level of learning taking place in all of our facilities, and that's why I stand before you tonight asking for this allocation.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. Does anybody have questions? Dr. Beason?
There were 2 items that I just don't know what they are. I think at Topeka West and maybe a couple other locations, there's an RTU replacement. What is that?
RTU is short for rooftop units. It's
Okay.
HVAC mechanical components. They are sometimes placed directly above a classroom and serve that specific space.
Okay, makes sense. And then what is the National Fitness Court?
The National Fitness Court is a grant-funded initiative that we took on last fiscal year. We were awarded some outdoor fitness courts equipment, And what we need to do and what we're requesting is the ability to place a large concrete slab that will hold and allow for the installation of that equipment. It's tied into, and maybe Mr. Menke can speak a little bit more.
I was going to say, Mr. Minky's coming up to fill in the gaps.
That was, the equipment was through the Blue Cross Blue Shield National Grant.
Yes,
if you
okay.
Remember that, yeah. We
Okay.
just need to pour a flat concrete surface so they can put the
Install it.
rubber mat down, and we need to find some community business partners to help us fund that down the road. So if there's any out there, my number is 785-295-3052.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Boley?
So I see a lot of asphalt that will be going down. I'm assuming those are parking lots.
Yes, ma'am.
And so is the asphalt a much better choice than concrete? And longevity wise, it seems like we're always having asphalt on our list.
As you'll note, there's some common projects that are always on our list. It's asphalt, concrete replacement, roof replacements, mechanical systems. To answer your question, it's a trade-off. Concrete lasts longer, but it's about 2 or 3 times more expensive. And depending on how we maintain our existing asphalt, it just determines the length and longevity that we'll get out of it. We're looking to try and get ahead of the maintenance of those asphalt components, so that way we're not seeing it as frequently. But it's kind of something that we can't at this point get away from. Okay.
Mr. Munoz?
Would you remind us about Tuck Point? What is the issue there, and what are we doing to address that?
Yes, so at a couple of our locations, Topeka High, Topeka West, Randolph, Tuck Point is the process of removing the existing mortar on like a brick facade on a building, or it's removing the mortar out of the joints between those bricks, and then placing new material in there. And most of the time you'll see it start to break out in between, and that's due to, the freeze thaw cycle during winter and due to moisture. It creates a vulnerability on the front face of those buildings, and sometimes can lead to water intrusion, rot, things of that nature. And so we have to be proactive in identifying those issues at those buildings that have that particular surfacing. If not, it can create a larger issue.
Dr. Bonebrake?
A couple of things. One, the asphalt. I used to have a tennis court, and I'd have to fix the cracks every 2 or 3 years. And then there was this underlayment, I think it's fiberglass. And last I saw in 10 years, it hadn't had any cracks, but I see streets in town that have been redone every 3 years, and they look like hell after 3 years. And I wonder if concrete wouldn't be a longer lasting, more cost-effective thing. And then I have a question about the Topeka High Little Theater.
Yes, sir.
I didn't see anything allocated for the Little Theater, and it's been ongoing, and one of the major contributors has very ill health. I'd like to see some progress made before he passes on.
Good timing. We actually opened a bid today in regards to that project. We're gathering a couple last pieces of information before we share it with that stakeholder group. They should expect that information here within the next couple of days. We don't have anything allocated through our major maintenance project list, because there has already been a discussion and understanding with that funding group that private dollars would be predominantly used for that project.
Just seems rather slow. It's been 3 years when we started talking about that, but his health is not good.
And I'm familiar with who you're speaking of, so I'm on the same wavelength with you. We're looking to try and wrap that as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
All right. I'd like to thank you, Mr. Schaefer, for your work on this.
If I
couple
could
other
just
comments?
interject, and you bring up a good point, right? Asphalt versus concrete, but we have a lot of square foot parking lots. Concretes can be twice as expensive as asphalt. If concrete's gonna run $3 to $8 a yard, or asphalt running $3 to $8 a yard, concrete can run upwards of $15, right? So there's no way possible to do a parking lot like Topeka West High School, completely 6 inches, 8 inches of concrete. It just economically isn't possible. Now, there are places in all of our parking lots that have heavy truck traffic. Every place that has a dump truck or a trash truck coming up to it, you'll see that those are concrete on our properties. But for the most part, where it's just car traffic or lighter vehicle traffic, those are going to be asphalt. Because again, simply, we could not afford to do concrete in all of our parking lots. It's not possible.
Yeah, Ms. Boley?
Come on back, Mr. Minky.
Mr. Minky.
Come on back.
I mean, Nate would love to do it, but he
Thank
can't because he can't
Yeah.
afford it.
And that's what
Yeah.
my question was, how often are we resurfacing those? Like, is it every 3 years that we're having to go back in with asphalt repair? It just seems like we're always going back.
We would look to get anywhere from, let's say, 10 to 15 years out of
Okay.
an asphalt surface if we do some preventative measures to ensure the longevity of those. It's the sheer fact that we have so many square footage wise, we have hundreds of thousands, millions of square feet of asphalt throughout our 43 district locations. And that's why it seems like it's a constant.
Okay, thanks.
Is the
That-
asphalt
like
sealed?
10 or 15 years out of it, it would, math wise, does seem more reasonable.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Is the asphalt sealed?
We strategically use crack filling and sealing to extend the longevity of those locations. So yes, we do that as a solution.
Because when I see a city street re-asphalted, it's good for 2 or 3 years, and then it's crud again.
I think the important differentiation between city streets and our parking lots is the traffic load. We don't have nearly as much. We have maybe a couple hundred cars that traverse it on a daily basis, but we don't have nearly the trafficking of a city street.
All
I'm
right,
gonna-
any other questions for Mr. Schaefer or Mr. Minky?
Can I add really quick too on that? The other thing that I think we do a really good job of in the district is filling those cracks. And that's part of the bids and stuff of when they come in. So when the cracks show up, where a lot of time the city streets, those cracks appear in the asphalt, water gets in, weeds start growing up through them, and then that forces that to even get worse. And so that's part of the sealing of those and making sure that we stay on top of that, not just resurfacing completely, but also making sure those cracks get sealed.
Thank you, Mr. Schaefer. You did an excellent job.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is a discussion item, and that is 20.1, continuation of the Boswell Park update. Ms. Whitman, I didn't know if you wanted to come up and provide an update as to where we are with this.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the board. Over the past 2 years, there have been 3 offers and 3 counter offers related to the Boswell property. With the leadership of Dr. Anderson, tremendous progress has been made this week. And as 5 o'clock this evening, the district was waiting for the county's response and a draft agreement. Once it is received and reviewed by me, it will be sent to board members for consideration. But I want to do a final review to make sure that it complies with all the statutes related to the to school property. And that will be once it is finalized and the county agrees to it, then the board would have an opportunity to review it also and agree to it or ask questions.
Thank you. Is there any other comments from the board on this? Mr. Tatum?
So, Mrs. Whitman, just to be clear, the district was anticipating a draft contract agreement sent to us by the county
Correct.
that we were looking forward to receiving by 5 o'clock tonight so that we could act on it during this particular session today. That wasn't received, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and
And
so we're
that
looking at
is,
next week? Is that
At some
right?
time, right, yeah, and there've been discussions, the parties are very close, as far as a final agreement. There are only some minor issues that need to be addressed. And I think that we will have the ability to address those issues. And then it will be, once I do my legal review, just as the county's attorney has to draft it, and they have to have a legal review and approve it. Then it comes back to me to do a legal review and present to the board. The superintendent present to the board for final approval. And that could occur within the next week.
Okay, so
But it's no guarantee.
best case scenario, Mrs. Whitman, we may be looking at taking action on this in the following board meeting.
That's possible,
Okay.
correct?
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, then we'll move to item 21, which is action items. The first one, 21.1, approval of proposed changes to policies and regulations. I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Tatum?
Madam Vice President, I move to approve the policy and regulation changes as discussed at the last meeting.
And a second. Dr. Beeson, is there any discussion? I can, Ms. Foley.
So my question was on policy, I think 6160. Currently, high school principals can allow a student who needs to complete 1 credit to participate in the graduation ceremony. Was that a change, or is that, it seems like we've had principals allow for more than 1 credit to be able to be completed by like October or something. So is it just 1 credit? Is that where we're going to stand?
Yes, and that is what it has been. This is just confirming that. And it was previously in policy.
So we just need to support that policy. Thank you. And that I'm assuming we will moving forward, that we will support that and still help those students complete their credits, but maybe not get to walk with their class, correct?
Correct. We have from the end of their senior year through October to get them their credits. So they may have more than 1 credit and that they can finish before October and graduate, but they have to be within 1 credit to walk at graduation.
Thank you.
And that's 2 classes.
All right, any other discussion? The vote is open.
Mrs. Bowley, do you want to vote by hand? Oh. Thank you. All votes are in and the motion carries unanimously.
All right, item 21.2 on the agenda is possible approval of the major maintenance proposal for 25-26 that was given to us by Mr. Nate Schaefer. We have the ability to make a motion and approve that this evening, or we can defer it to the next board meeting if anybody feels that necessity. If we want to make a motion tonight, I would, if we want to take action tonight, I need a motion, please. Mr. Tatum?
Madam Vice President, I move to approve the major maintenance proposal as presented and discussed tonight.
And a second, Dr. Beeson? Any discussion? All right, the vote is open.
All votes are in and the motion carries unanimously.
All right, the next item on the agenda under action items is 21.3. And we placed that there as possible action on the Boswell Park update. I just want to say that we had hoped to have a finalized contract between the district and the county this evening, but as many understand, that process can take time. I do want to encourage you that we remain committed to working collaboratively to reach that agreement that serves everyone's best interests. So we thank you for your patience and support. All right, next item on the agenda is board member comments. We'll start with Dr. Bonebrake.
Well, Wellness Committee no longer has reason to exist. It gave all its T-shirts out at the family activity park. But the Health Committee is going to take that responsibility, and the efforts of trying to get over with a new record time. Let us go on to Dr. Beeson.
Dr. Beeson.
Okay. Yeah, Health Insurance Committee will meet on the 13th, so I don't have anything to report on that. Equity Council, not until the 30th. I want to thank our community members for coming out tonight and speaking to an issue that's important to their neighborhood. And also for the activism. I think that what Mrs. Duffy spoke to as a sense of place really kind of moved me. And if we can all be lucky enough to have that and raise children in that, that's what's going to be best for the greater good. So that also made me think of the school visits I've been doing. And my most recent visit was to Robinson Middle School, where Mrs. Strom had set up for the 8th grade student council students to meet me at the front doors. And they had their big school banner, and the kids gave me a tour of the building themselves and told me all about the things that they love about their school and their teachers and their activities. And that was very special to me to spend time with students specifically. The culture of the school was incredible. The students were, they had so much pride in their school. They pointed out the things that they thought were really beautiful about their building and about their school days, and told me about their favorite teachers. And it was just a reminder of that concept of sense of place, and that these kids are experiencing that in their schools. I was thinking maybe I should send my girls to their school. That's right. And then I had time with Mrs. Strom, who is really such a visionary. So she was telling me about so many projects that she has planned, really an emphasis on students' individual identities, but also what that means as the collective identity at Robinson. And it was just a very beautiful experience. And I look forward to being back at Robinson again soon. And I think that's all I have to report.
We have just a few houses for sale in Boswell Park. So you could become a part of that exciting neighborhood. So do a drive-through.
I'll be looking at Zillow later tonight. So
there you go. We got a couple really beautiful homes out, actually. Yeah. So we had our technology committee meeting, and we have a situation where everyone between maintenance and technology have decided they're going to do a joint ticketing system that whenever there's a concern, there's just one ticket to fill out, and then whoever needs to go, whether it's maintenance, technology, or both, if it, if you got to tear a wall down or, everybody is going to go at the same time to work on that instead of having this spread out, doing it at different times. And so they're very excited about this joint ticketing system. And I am too. It just sounds like just such a better idea. So I kudos to you for coming up with that. I appreciate that. There's as you saw on the maintenance list, intercom systems. And our intercom systems, maybe some of you sitting in the room had the same intercom system in the building that's there now. It is not working with everything that we needed to do, particularly at the safety end. We can manually set off our alarms, but we really want to upgrade that and make it so it's a safer for our students, a quicker response for everybody. And that intercom system I'm just so glad we passed it, because for me, that's a safety issue of getting someplace quickly. Not only that, but your scheduling and getting to your classes and being there on time, and just it's a big system. So I'm just really glad to see us starting to upgrade that and put it in place. And I really like the idea of starting at the high schools and middle schools, where those bell systems are even more important for the running of the schools. So that's going to be in place, and we pass that tonight. I'm very excited about that. Lego competitions are going to be getting started. We have all middle schools involved, and we have 8 elementary schools involved. And it looks like in our personnel that we have approved some coaches for that. We are moving forward. If you have not been to a Lego competition, you should come. Windows 11, you are running out of time, staff. Anybody listening, you're running out of time. You need to get your computers turned in by October 13th. I'm assuming you've been telling them that, right? Well, you better do it, because your system's going to close down if it's not taken care of. So make sure your computer is in their hands. You only have 11 more days. So no, probably only 10 now. It needs to be upgraded, and you will be isolated from the system if you don't get that done. We're having some concerns with malware. Please don't click on anything, board members, that you don't know what it is. They are getting really good at fooling us. So please don't click on anything. If you have a concern, call them. And they will let you know how safe it is. But we really, really want to block that from our system, and we have to do that training. So those are things that happen with technology. Kansas Association of School Boards has been touring the state of Kansas on their legislative agenda. They have finished those tours. They've gone all across the state of Kansas, met with superintendents, met with principals, met with board members, and they have a document that they're sharing with us next Thursday for us to approve or continue to draft. And so we will be doing a meeting on Zoom next Thursday, and be receiving a draft a couple days before that. And I'll be sharing that with you as it comes along. Board comments. Kirk Haskin has asked for our superintendent to continue to be active in the legislative concerns this year. He says it's been noticed, people see it, and he said that you have a very powerful voice. And so I told him I would pass that on to you, that he appreciates your ability to be a voice for public schools, and it's very important, particularly this year. Several of us went to the jacketing ceremony at our college prep. It was just so exciting to see those students receive their jackets like physicians receive their white coats, and the pride that they took in that. And I was very excited to get that invitation. the teaching pathways, Mr. Munoz and myself went there to speak to them about public service and being on the school board. And the students there were talking to us about their placements in our schools and where they are working and what age group they're working with, and the excitement that they have for being in the classroom and seeing how it's really working, and individual students that they're helping. And just to see those 21 students get so excited about our profession is very exciting. I'm hoping that we will keep them in our district. I'm really hoping. We've had 2 homecomings. They were so exciting. The parades were fun. The games were exciting and close, and we won some. And and the band halftimes were amazing. And they had their band. I can't remember what it's called, but they're the big band contest at Washburn University last night, and Topeka West took first. And if you have ever seen Topeka West halftime program this year, if you get a chance to see it, please go. I was so moved by it. I called Dr. Anderson on her personal time to say, this was one of the best things I've ever seen. I'm sorry, I'm calling you. I'm very moved. It was just amazing. And I was not surprised to see that happen. I also want to encourage our high schools, and I'm hoping that our teaching and learning will help with this, to set up voter registrations in all of our high schools for students that are turning 18 in time to vote, or they can even register at 16. Topeka Public Schools has one of the lowest student registrations in the state. And I would really like to see that change. And I know Topeka High just had theirs. I know they're very diligent about it. I'm hoping we can get our high schools in that situation too. We need voters. We need young people's voices. And I'm hoping that we'll be a leader in that area. Thanks.
Okay, I take it as me, although I'm not sure there's much else that needs to be said. Oh, so Mrs. Bowley was taking it easier on us than it could have been. Yeah, yeah.
Because I didn't mention Landon. I don't know if anybody went to Landon's fiesta.
Yes.
Oh.
I was there. Thank you for reminding me, because I'm racking my brain trying to think of what else did I do during this week? And this has been a slow past couple weeks for me in terms of district related activities, but I did go for a short time to the Landon Fiesta, mainly to drop my daughter off.
No, it was called something else.
Right, that's right. It was called something else. But everybody was having a good time. Madison said she had a great time.
Oh, gosh,
so
it was good.
yeah. So that was really cool. Maybe next time I'll get to go and stay longer. And that was last Friday, I believe.
Yeah,
Almost a full week ago. Okay. All right. Thanks for the reminder. I don't think I've been in any committee meetings since we met last. I think policy committee met maybe earlier this week, or maybe it was last week. Last week. Okay. Well, I'm sure Mr. Munoz and Mrs. Schmidt have updates on the policy committee. But that's almost all that I have. I also wanted to recognize our guests tonight. Appreciate the passion that you all bring on an issue that is very, very important to you. And I think we're listening, and really do appreciate the opportunity to have the dialogue. At the same time, I also wanted to point out, because this doesn't usually happen, but we've had some guests tonight that are actually Topeka Public Schools Board of Education alumni. And Dwayne Pomeroy was here a bit ago. He looks like he's gone now. And he's certainly a school board alum, but we also have Reverend Ben Scott back there, who is also a 501 school board alum. So it is not often that we have two members of the school board in previous incarnations on whose shoulders the seven of us on the board now stand. And so Reverend Scott, thank you for your service. And really do appreciate Mr. Pomeroy's service as well. And I think with that, I'll pass it on to Mr. Munoz.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we did have a policy committee meeting on the 22nd, I believe, Monday. And we did discuss a few things, but we haven't decided on anything. The work that we have been doing for the past couple of months, we all voted on today. They had to do with our cardiac wellness policy, as well as a couple of other updates, minor adjustments, nothing major up to this point. My September, at least the last 2 weeks, has been filled with cross-country, tennis, parades. And so, you know, for those of us who have students are running back and forth, just and Highland Park is coming up on Friday next week, I believe, right? Not this Friday. So if you can attend, make sure you have that on your calendar. What I wanted to say is two things. One is I did attend TCALC and Ms. Jones's class with aspiring young individuals who want to be teachers. One comment stood out to me, which was it was all females and one male. And the male came up to me and talked to me about how important it is to have more males in our classrooms and how he had so few male role models, male teachers up to that point, and experienced that was one motivating reason of why he was in the class, why he aspired to be a teacher. And I think he made, say, a valid point that our classrooms, we have to work to try to make sure there is parity because students notice, and whether they see it or not, they notice. And right now we need as many good male role models in front of our students as possible. And there is, I'm sure, data out there that shows that when you have good role models for students, for both, for everybody, that they can see themselves at the front of the room embodied, that works to better student success. So I'll just share that one, what I'm taking away from that experience. The last thing I would say is that what was mentioned previously about training, the technology reminder. Could we get a reminder? Are we supposed to do that? Right? So if you could remind me, I know we all get lots of emails, so it's lost somewhere there, but if you might sort of send me that again, I'll get on that as soon as I can. So that's my report.
All right. I want to take a moment to thank Mr. Schaefer, Ms. Stranathan for the building maintenance. It's one of those things we don't think about a lot of times until something goes sideways. And so I appreciate the time and effort you guys put into that. And I think that's reflected in Dr. Beeson's comments. If we have pride in our schools and our buildings, that shows through our kids. And we need to make sure that we give them things to be proud of. So I appreciate the work that you guys have done on that. We're also neighbors in our neighborhoods. And so I drive by Highland Park High School every day. And so I see those things and I watch that. And so we want to be a good neighbor. We want to show that we have pride in our buildings and therefore in our communities. And hopefully that creates a ripple. And on that same note of neighbors and neighborhoods, I want to apologize that the frustration that I feel like you've experienced through this whole 3-year process. I agree personally that it shouldn't have come to this, but I am happy that we are making some progress. I wish that we could have had a tentative contract tonight to sign on. And I think you know that both parties have been really trying to make that happen. But unfortunately, the politics of some things sometimes just take longer than we want. But I appreciate your patience with us and we'll get it over the finish line. Other than that, I think I saw we have an upcoming agenda item with Dr. Brett Church. And he's coming back to speak to a little bit about the teacher retention survey at some point in the future. Is that correct?
I think that was last year's agenda. Those are things that were on during that month. So that helps guide us with what do we talk about this next month. But Ms. Stranathan and Mrs. Wallace, unless you have an update, Ms. Wallace?
So on our PD day on October 14th, this is the year where the survey goes to the entire state. And so we will be participating in that. The very last 20 to 30 minutes of that PD day will be time for everybody to log in, to use the link and to take that survey.
Okay, and I know that they were working in some smaller groups to do some things, and I don't know that I think we got kind of a middle of the road report as that work had kind of started. I would be interested in hearing.
The champion groups.
Yes, I'd be interested in hearing kind of how those things ended, especially as we step into the next survey. So I don't know if we can put that on the agenda in some point in the future. And that is all I have. So the next item on the agenda is adjournment. I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Tatum,
Madam Vice President, I move the meeting adjourned.
second. Mr. Bonebreak? Everybody in favor, raise your right hand, say aye. Yay, Miss Foley. All right.